Hi, thanks for joining the channel. So we thought we had Thailand all figured out before we moved over here. We literally watched thousands of vlogs. We read thousands of blogs. We researched it, every nook and cranny. And we got to the point where before we moved over here, we were picturing ourselves on a pristine beach, drinking an ice cold beer, on like living pennies on the dollar. That's kind of the way the dream is painted. You know, you see it from other expats and you hear it from other people on the show. But a lot of that is true, for sure. But after almost a full year here, we can tell you that the reality is much, much more complicated.
We're talking about the kind of surprises that sneak up to you on a random Tuesday. The ones that make you rethink everything you thought you knew. From the unexpected hit to our wallets for simple home comforts to the bureaucracy that is Thai immigration. These are the 5 biggest surprises that completely blindsided us as foreigners in Thailand. So if you're even thinking about making the move over here, please stick around. This is the stuff you might actually need to know. The first thing you hear about Thailand is how cheap it is, and that's not a lie, but it's a dangerous half-truth, and the other half can absolutely wreck your budget. When we first got here, it was paradise. We were eating world-class street food for $2 or $3 a meal. Our rent for a modern 3-bedroom pool villa was ridiculous compared to what we'd pay back home, and for a little while we honestly felt like we'd cracked the code. Then the honeymoon phase came to a screeching halt. In a grocery store, we got this sudden, desperate craving for a good block of cheddar cheese and a decent bottle of red wine. We walked into one of the fancier supermarkets and our jaws just about hit the floor. That block of cheese, the kind we wouldn't think twice about throwing into our cart at home, cost 3 times as much as it did at home. And the wine was even worse. And just like that, our cheap life didn't feel so cheap anymore. This is the huge catch that they don't always tell you. Yeah, local life is incredibly affordable. But Western comforts are straight up luxury. If you want imported stuff, whether it's quality beef, your favorite cereal, craft beer, or electronics, you're often going to pay way more than you did back home. Your budget is 100% dictated by your lifestyle. If you go all in on the Thai way of life, you'll save a fortune. But the second you try to replicate your life from back home, wherever that is, your expenses will explode in ways that you never saw coming. The surprise wasn't that Thailand could be so expensive. It was a shocking cost of feeling comfortable. One example I'll use is at one of our favorite stores, Villa Market. If you look at potato chips there, if you buy Tostitos, they are 258 baht for a bag. If you look at Lay's chips, which Lay's has a factory in Thailand, they are a fraction of the cost. So if you can buy Thai stuff, it's a lot cheaper. When you first land as a tourist, it's a breeze. You get a stamp, a friendly smile, and you're on your way. It feels so easy. But that feeling vanishes the second you decide you want to stay longer than a couple of months. Our first taste of real Thai bureaucracy was watching our friends that had tourist visas do what expats call a visa run. This used to be a regular trip to the land border just to exit and re-enter the country for a new stamp. It sounds simple, but it's a stressful day-long headache, and it's always looming over you. I've also heard that now if you've spent more than 180 total days in Thailand in a calendar year, immigration may reject your ability to return if you're just on a tourist visa. But the real shocker is that the rules are constantly moving target. The system is a complex, ever-changing maze that honestly feels designed to be confusing. From May 1st, 2025, the old paper arrival form was replaced by the mandatory Thailand digital arrival card, which all foreigners must complete online prior to entry. This adds a new digital layer to a system that already has a dozen different visa types: tourist, education, volunteer, retirement, and the new long-term resident visas, each with its own mountain of paperwork and shifting requirements. I recommend you look up the different types on Google and YouTube. There is some really good information. There's a guy named Chris Parker who just recently did a really good one. I'll put a link in the description below. We'll never forget trying to get our first long-term visa. We spent weeks gathering every single document imaginable, all perfectly organized, combined them into a single PDF. We sent everything to the Bureau of Investment. That's who handles the long-term resident visa. Only have to go back and forth over several weeks until we finally got our visa. That feeling of helplessness, of being totally at the mercy of a system you can't predict, is a rite of passage for almost every expat that is living here. Of course, if you're willing to shell out some cash, there are visa agents who will do most of the work for you. So while things are getting more digital, the surprise isn't the bureaucracy itself. It's the sheer unpredictable and constantly evolving nature of it that can really wear you down. By the way, if you're getting some real value out of this, or if you've ever had your own immigration nightmare, do me a solid and just go ahead and hit that subscribe button and the like button. I'll wait for you. You can just go above. Click on that little thumbs up. Okay. I share unfiltered realities of expat life and do travel vlogs. So, like I said, your support really helps the algorithm and helps us grow our tiny little channel. We're shooting for 1,000 subscribers. We're at 682 right now. Thank you. Okay, so this was maybe our biggest culture shock, and it's something you just can't learn from a guidebook. You actually have to live it. In the West, we're often taught to be direct. You speak your mind. If there's a problem, you confront it head on. In Thailand, that approach is a recipe for disaster. The entire culture is built around the concept of saving face, which is all about keeping the peace and avoiding public conflict or embarrassment at all costs. Raising your voice, showing you're angry, publicly calling somebody out is a massive, massive taboo. It doesn't just make you look like a jerk, it causes the other person to lose face, which is a huge social no-no. We actually witnessed this in a restaurant where it was a foreigner who was yelling at the waitstaff, and he looked really ugly and was treated really badly from then on out. On the flip side, you have the concept of sanuka. That's the idea that life should be fun. This just isn't about partying. It's woven into work, the market, everything. It creates a relaxed, playful vibe that's amazing, but can also be confusing if you're from a super task-oriented culture. Then there's the why, spelled W-A-I, that prayer-like gesture for greetings. Here in Thailand, it's very common to put your hands together like you're praying and dip your head. It's not just a hello. The height of your hands and the dip of your head communicates your understanding of the social ladder. The real surprise isn't just learning these rules, but realizing that there's a whole unspoken social and emotional frequency that you have to tune into if you really want to connect with the people here in Thailand. Thailand is famous for its medical tourism, and for really good reason. The private hospitals in cities like Bangkok and Hua Hin are genuinely world-class. I'm talking 5-star hotel vibes, with state-of-the-art equipment and brilliant English-speaking doctors and nurses. My first time in one was at the Bangkok hospital here in Hua Hin. I had an issue with my elbow. I got x-rays. I got saw by a doctor just when I walked in. I had a splint put on and drugs given to me for pain and inflammation, and the whole bill was $200 US, which is ridiculous if you know what healthcare costs in the United States. I felt like I'd found heaven on earth for healthcare. But that's only half the story. The big surprise is that Thailand basically has 2 different healthcare systems. While the private hospitals like Bangkok Hospital here in Hua Hin and up in Bangkok are incredible, the public hospitals like Hua Hin Hospital is what most Thais use. They can be kind of a shock for a foreigner. They're often packed with huge wait times and massive language barriers. The care is still great, but trying to navigate it without speaking Thai is a serious challenge. The real gut punch, though, is the cost of a major medical emergency. A checkup at a private hospital might be cheap, but major surgery or long-term treatment can get insanely expensive. This leads to the single most important piece of advice for any expats. You must, I emphasize must, have good healthcare insurance. A lot of people think that because healthcare is generally cheaper, they can risk it. That is a terrible, terrible gamble. The paradox is that you have access to some of the best medical care on the planet, but without insurance, that access comes with a price tag that could absolutely ruin you financially. Before I moved here, my mental picture of Thailand was a mix of ancient temples, rustic villages, and chaotic city streets. I was expecting, quote, quote, a developing country in every sense of the word. And you can definitely find that beautiful traditional side of Thailand. But the biggest surprise for me was discovering that in many ways, it's more futuristic than the US. The infrastructure in the big cities is unreal. The internet is lightning fast and insanely cheap. Public transportation in Bangkok with this air-conditioned SkyTrain called the BTS and the subway called the MRT is clean, efficient, makes getting around this massive city a total breeze at really, really affordable costs. But it's the digital life that really floored me here. There is an app for almost everything. The Thais live on their phones. I can order street food from a tiny little cart or a brand new laptop and have it at my door in under an hour. I pay for my groceries, my taxis, and my bills just by scanning a QR code with my phone. The level of day-to-day convenience often puts what I was used to in the US to shame. This seamless blend of the ancient and the hyper-modern is one of the coolest, most ongoing surprises of living here. You can spend the morning at a temple that's centuries old, and in the afternoon, go to a slick, futuristic mall that looks like it was dropped in from Tokyo. You can eat a traditional meal cooked over charcoal on the street and pay for it using an app on your phone. The real shock wasn't finding the tradition here, but finding it living so comfortably right next to the level of modern convenience I never could have imagined. So, that's our list. The 5 biggest welcome to Thailand moments that completely reshaped our view of this place. It's a country of amazing nuances and beautiful contradictions. It's a place where your money can stretch further than you ever dreamed or vanish on a block of imported cheese. It's a land of bewildering rules and incredible grace, of world-class health care with a catch, and of ancient traditions that are perfectly at home in a hyper-modern world. Living here has taught us that no matter how much you think you know, a place will always have its own secrets to share with you. It's a journey of nonstop learning and adapting. And honestly, despite all the shocks and headaches, it's a journey that we wouldn't trade for anything. Now we'd like to hear from you. For those of you who are living in Thailand or have spent time here, what were your biggest surprises? What was the one thing that just knocked you off your feet? Let me know in the comments below. I read every single one and I'm dying to hear from your stories. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe for more real talk about life abroad.